Johnny.
How are you today, Units?
A little bit tired, but besides that, everything is okay. What about you?
Also a little bit tired. Also, besides that, everything is pretty okay.
Cool.
I guess it's one of those Mondays. I feel like I say that every time. Um, alright, let's open up the lessons and stuff.
Cool.
So you missed last week's lesson. What happened there?
Yes, I didn't sleep. I had an alarm for the morning, but it didn't function. I think the alarm started, but I didn't hear it, or I don't know what happened. I was so tired. I don't know. I'm really sorry.
Well, it's alright. It happens. But
Yeah,
try to avoid
I know.
that,
Yeah,
because you're the one who isn't going to be getting the English practice, and if you don't get practice, then you're going to be forgetting all the stuff that you've learned. And then what's the point?
I agree with you.
Oh, it's March today, March 2nd.
March 2nd.
Alright, so which topic should we do it on today? Let me take a glance at what we did before. So, networking and
Memes, networking.
mindfulness. Let's see. Hmm. Let's see. Usually, I guess what it comes down to is what you want to talk about. Do any of these topics look particularly interesting to you?
I saw lesson about time and money.
Time and money,
Uh,
time value of money.
yes,
Yeah, this is a good one.
cool. It sounds interesting, especially because right now I read a book,
I'm
and
reading a book.
I'm reading a book, and there is a quote there that says that time doesn't equal money, even if the mainstream media is telling us that time is money.
So what does it say?
It says that if you think about time, like it means if you think that time is money, you will always feel like you have to, like you lose something if you don't work, and you are always stressed and you can't improve. You can't improve. It's really interesting. It's a different perspective.
I think it's the
And
wrong. I think what they're saying, they have the wrong perspective on how people see time and money, at least in my opinion. Like, for example, as a business owner, you're going to be seeing time very differently than a salaryman. Do you know the difference between a salaryman and a owner?
yeah, for the salary man, it doesn't matter if he works more or if he has more results, because his salary will be the same. But for a business owner, every single improvement matters. And when I say improvement, I speak about the fact that if they work a business usually if a business owner works more, he will have more money.
Kind of. The main difference though is, I guess what you're saying is kind of right, but the main difference is the salaryman, his income is directly correlated with the number of hours he puts into his job, usually.
Mm-hmm.
There's a
Yeah.
direct correlation. Whereas the business owner is an indirect correlation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not necessarily an indirect correlation. It could be an indirect correlation. So what that means is, like, if the salaryman puts like 5 extra hours, they get paid overtime and they get X amount of money. That's like
Mm-hmm.
easy to measure. But a businessman, if he puts X amount of hours extra, how much money does he get? I don't know. It's hard to tell because he does work on developing his business and growing his business, and it's difficult to measure how much money it brings him because all he knows is that it's growing his business.
Mm-hmm.
But when he's not actively putting time into his business, he could be making money because his business is running even when he's not working on it.
Yes, I agree with this.
So when you said when people think of time as money, from a businessman's perspective, I think it's still very important to look at it in that way because you gotta be very cognizant of the fact that as time passes, um, you could be making money, but that doesn't mean you have to be making money,
I
like the
understand.
book implied.
Yes, from a business point of view, it's better to think that time is money, but from a mental health point of view, like it's better to think that time is not money because that way you are not stressed and you don't feel like you are losing something every time you rest a little bit. Because at some point, people are so stressed out with doing more, increasing their income, and things like that, that they lose track of the main reason why they are doing it. You know?
Yeah, yeah. See, maybe the problem is the fact that people put too much value on money
Yeah,
because then what it comes down to is what do you want to do with your time? Do you want to make money or do something else, right?
mm-hmm.
For example, I could have been using my time to make money, or I could have been using my time to exercise. Which do you think is more important to you? Health, exercise, or making money? Right?
Yes, it depends.
So I think that book might be assuming the wrong thing. What's the book called?
Enjoy time.
Enjoy Time. Do you know who it's by?
No, I don't know the name of the author. I know that it's a woman.
Catherine Blythe?
Yes, this is the book. The main idea is that I observed, for example, last week I had a sales call, and I asked that possible client what is the main reason why they want to increase their business, and he told me that he wants more time with his family, spend together with his children, and after that, after he told me that, he told me that at some point he's thinking about um, doing events outside of his town. He is
Yeah.
a photographer, and ask him, why do you want to do that? Because you told me that you want more free time with your family and your kids, and it's counterintuitive. And he told me, yes, but if I go and do and shoot other events from other cities, I'm going to earn more money. So because he saw uh, because he was thinking that time is money, he somehow used to put more value on money than time.
Yeah, I guess. But maybe it also depends on how much they need the money, right? If someone needs the money, they're
Hmm.
gonna make sacrifices to make it. Alright, let's go. Let's go into the lesson. So we're gonna start with some of these questions. Go ahead and read that first one.
So would you rather receive 10,000 now or in 2 years? Why? 10,000 now, of course.
Yeah, but why?
Why would I have to wait 2 years for that amount? Because if I receive 10,000 now, I can invest them, and maybe in 2 years I can have 100,000.
Yep, that's a good answer. Why would you receive it later when you could do it now and you can invest it? Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Second question.
What is your time worth? It depends.
On
I
what?
mean, on the activities that I want to do. For example, if I feel like something is going to be valuable for me, and um, I feel like I do something good, I would I have the tendency to reduce my costs, for a client.
Okay.
Like, but if I feel like I don't, even if it shouldn't be like that, because we don't have to decrease our prices for the people just because we are doing what we like to do and what we enjoy. But this is how I function right now.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Sometimes I do some like that sort of thing, but I mean it depends, right?
Mm-hmm.
What about if you're I don't know, in a certain kind of mood or a certain kind of place, or like what if you're busy or what if you're not busy?
I feel like when I feel like I'm busy, my time works more,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like I have to negotiate more, and I put another value to every hour that I'm spending.
Mm-hmm. So why don't you just be busy all the time and then your time becomes very valuable?
Yes, this might be a good idea. Um, but sometimes being busy doesn't mean that you are productive.
I mean, that's a good point, but do you always have to be productive?
Yes, from some point of view, yes, because what's the point of spending more hours for one activity if you don't have more results? At least
Okay.
at least from a business point of view. For example, if I go into the park with my little sister, yes, of course, in that case, I would like to spend more time. But even in that case, I have to be productive. Like I have to be present and to be aware of the time spent with her. So I think in every activity that we are doing, we have to be productive.
Okay, but productive implies that you're producing something, you're making something.
Yes.
But you said you have to be present. I think that's more important is to be present because you can't necessarily be very productive when you're just spending time with your sister, quality time with your family or whatever.
It's more like metaphor.
Mm-hmm.
Like you are productive because you obtain the results that you want. You obtain the connection with the people that you love. You build something there, even if it's not something financial
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't have any business worth.
Yeah. So how do you put a value on that time when it doesn't when you can't measure it in that way?
I think you can't put a financial value on that.
So does
From
that mean
some
it's
point,
infinite or not applicable?
I think it's not applicable, and I think this is the main idea that the book wanted to show. Because, for example, you are paid, let's say, 30 euros per hour. Yes,
Yeah.
if in that case, if you want to spend some time with your family, if you think that time is money, you will always think about, oh, I spent 5 hours with my family, I lost 150 hours, $150,
Yeah.
and this is not a good mindset, because that way you are always stressed because you feel like you are losing money, because maybe you did something that you enjoyed,
Mm-hmm.
but because you put some financial value to it, you don't enjoy it anymore, because you feel like you lost something, because you see the opportunity cost.
Oh, I like that you said that opportunity cost. That's actually one of the vocabulary terms in this lesson. Speaking of which, that's relevant for the third question. What's the opportunity cost? What are some other things you could have been doing apart from having this lesson?
The opportunity to sleep more, this is the first thing that came into my mind,
That comes to mind.
that comes to my mind.
You could say just comes to mind, not come to my mind,
come
right?
Comes to mind.
Yeah, it's the first thing that comes to mind.
comes to mind. Yeah, okay. What are some other things? To do my workouts, to prepare the contract for one of my clients,
Mm-hmm.
to practice some bachata because I started to take bachata lessons.
Hobbies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, hobbies, a lot of things. I mean, actually, the opportunity cost is everything that I could have done during this time.
Kind of. We'll get a little more into that later. But I just wanted to ask
Oh.
you to see what other things you could have done apart from having this lesson. Alright, so let's go into this reading. Go ahead and read it.
In the late 1960s, Stanford University psychologist Walter Mischel ran a series of delayed gratification tests on a total of 653 3 to 5 years old.
Year
One well-known
olds.
example year olds.
Yep.
One well-known example was the Marshmallow Test, whereby each preschool child was left alone in a room with one marshmallow and the promise that if they could refrain from eating the sweet until the researcher returned, they would receive another one. The focus of the test was on the ability of the children to exercise restraint.
Very good. Yeah, the only mistake you made was the 5 year
Year
olds.
olds.
Yep. Any questions on this reading?
No.
Cool. Alright. So let's move into the vocabulary. Go ahead.
Time value of money, the greater benefit of receiving money now rather than an identical sum later. Opportunity cost, the benefits an individual, investor, or business misses out when choosing one alternative over another. Interest, money paid regularly at a particular rate for the use of money lent or for delaying the repayment of a debt.
Very good. Cool. Any questions so far?
Time value of money, the greater benefit. Time value of money is about the first question that we have, yes?
Yeah, kind of. Would you rather receive this amount now or later?
Yeah. Can you explain me a little bit more about time value of money?
Like the definition?
Yes.
So, if you receive money now, okay, let's say you receive X amount of money now, or you can receive X the same amount of money later. The only difference is that there's time in between those two
Mm-hmm.
options. And that value of that time is the time value of the money. So like you said before, if you take the money now, you can invest it and the value of that money becomes that amount that you gain from using it
Mm-hmm.
wisely in that time.
Mm-hmm. And I found another reason for taking the money now, not 10 years later. And that reason is the fact that usually inflation increases, and $10,000 now would probably mean more money than $10,000 in 10 years
Yeah,
from
so
now.
there's a million reasons. There's different factors like
Yeah.
inflation and investment opportunities and all that sort of stuff.
Yes.
All right, so a little more vocabulary. Go ahead.
Delayed gratification, when the subject resists the temptation of an immediate reward in preference for a later reward.
Good.
Restraint, the current relative valuation placed on receiving a good at an earlier date compared with receiving it at a later date. Asset, a useful or valuable thing, person, or quality.
Good. Any questions on these words?
Hmm, no.
All right. Let's do some matching. Make sure you understand these well. Go ahead.
Asset, um, a useful or valuable thing, person, or quality.
Good.
Idle, to spend time doing nothing.
Yep.
Interest, Money paid regularly at a particular rate for the use of money lent or for delaying the repayment of a debt.
Good.
And opportunity cost, the benefits an individual investor business misses out when choosing one alternative over another.
Good. Alright, this one should probably have been pretty easy. Alright, next we got some fill in the blanks.
Okay, so safe dollars do not sit idly, but instead earn a return. Your bank lends your money to a corporation who builds a factory. The factory repays the bank, and the bank repays you with interest. The value of time says that savings earn a future return. It is the financial property of money which expresses its ability to grow.
Yeah, very good. Okay. I'm just gonna take a quick glance at what we have left. Cool. Any questions on this?
No.
Alright, now let's make some sentences.
So one study proved that the kids that delayed the gratification were more successful during their lifetime, and they were able to be more persistent.
So one study proved that kids who, what was it? Practiced?
To the kids who were able to delay their gratification or something like that. Um,
Yeah, but tell me the exact what you said. One study proved that kids
who delayed the gratification,
yeah, who delayed gratification. What was,
yes, were more successful in life and more disciplined, not persistent, disciplined.
good. Okay, so one study proved that the kids who delayed gratification were more successful in life and more disciplined. Good. Yep.
Yes.
Alright, so no mistakes there. You're about to make a mistake, but then you corrected yourself, so.
Yeah. Restrained. Um, being able to have some restraints in your schedule will make your time less flexible, but will help you. But it will help you improve your productivity.
Being able to have some restraint in your schedule will make your time less flexible, but will help you improve your productivity. I'm not sure I understand what you mean by having restraint in your schedule. Because remember, if you look at it, restraint is the current relative valuation placed on receiving a good at an earlier date compared with receiving it at a later date, right? So,
So a good example is when you want to do something like you want to take a break or you want to eat something sweet, and instead of doing it now,
mm-hmm,
you have certain time intervals in your schedule for doing it.
mm-hmm. Okay, I see what you're trying to say now. Um,
Hmm?
have some restraint in your schedule. So this part is the confusing part.
Yes.
When you say have some restraint, How do you have restraint in your schedule? Like how do you put restraint in your schedule? Rather, restraint is something that you do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how would you rephrase that? Being able to.
Okay, so let's put it this way. So being able to have to restrain some of your needs and desires will make your time less flexible, but it will help you improve your productivity.
I don't know. You're not using the word restraint. You're using restrain. I want you to try to
Res-
use the word restraint. So, restraint is something that you can do. You can exercise restraint. You can practice restraint, right?
Okay,
So, being able to,
to restrain.
not to restraint, you need a word between to and restraint. Remember, it's something that you do. I gave you a big hint with those two words I just said previously.
To practice restraint.
Yes. So, being able to practice restraint, um, in your schedule. So, what you're trying to say is like stick to your schedule, right?
Yes.
So, being able to practice restraint by doing what with your schedule?
By setting up your schedule or
Not just setting it up, but actually following.
respecting.
Yeah, by respecting. Being able to practice restraint by respecting your schedule will make your time less flexible, but it will help you improve your productivity. There you go. So now it's much easier for me to understand that what you're trying to say is that you need to, like, if your schedule says you're going to be doing for 1 hour, you're going to do this for 1 hour,
For 1 hour, yeah.
right? Whereas previously I didn't really understand that.
Yes, it wasn't so clear in the beginning.
Can you read this sentence back to me?
Okay, so being able to practice restraint by respecting your schedule will make your time less flexible, but it will help you improve your productivity.
Very good. Okay. Next word, interest.
If you obtain a compound interest of 10%, you will be able to increase the amount of money that you have exponentially.
So if you obtain,
Compound.
did you say any articles before here? I don't remember.
Obtain a compound.
If you obtain a compound interest of 10%, you will be able to increase the amount of money that you have exponentially. Good. Yeah, try to turn off your notifications so that you don't get distracted from your concentration flow in this lesson.
Thanks.
You know that theory of flow?
Yes, from Mikhail Mich. I don't remember his name.
Yeah, I don't know who either, but that notification just ruined your flow. It's boom.
Yes.
All right, let's go. Let's
Uh,
go back into this. Did you want to say
actually,
something?
well, yes. I just changed my phone and I realized the fact that I have my notification turned on this one. It it bothers me a lot because on the other phone I used to have all the notifications turned off always
Yeah.
because I am the one who is in charge with my schedule and I am the one who has to control it. Not I don't want the phone to control me, and I have to do the same thing with this phone.
What phone did you have before, and what phone do you have now?
I had a Samsung Galaxy S7, and now I have an iPhone 11 Pro.
Ew. Get rid of it. Return it. Throw it away. Trash. Both Samsung and Apple have the worst
What do
design
you have?
principles. I have a Motorola. I have a Motorola G7 Plus.
What did you want to say about Samsung and Apple?
Samsung and Apple are both trash. Their design principles are terrible because they implement more planned obsolescence. The top three reasons why I hate them is because they're they're like they provide a good user interface, user experience, somewhat,
Mm-hmm.
but they implement a lot of planned obsolescence. Um, they try to.
Obsolescence. I didn't hear about this word until now.
You've never heard
So,
of it?
mm-mm.
Yeah. So the phrase I would say is I've never heard of it.
I never heard of it.
Yeah,
Okay,
I have never heard of it. So I've never heard of it.
I have never heard of it. Okay,
Planned obsolescence. Um, another thing is
what does it mean?
um, so planned obsolescence is when a manufacturer designs something to break after a certain period of time.
Uh huh.
For
Yes.
example, if your warranty is 2 years, your phone will break in 2 years and 1 month.
Yeah.
And those manufacturers are known to do that, especially Apple and
Yes,
even
I
Samsung.
heard about it. Yeah.
Many manufacturers, a lot of them do this, so it's like kind of normal, but those manufacturers are very like they're known to do this more. So planned
No.
obsolescence, um, repairability and maintenance, repairability and maintenance. So what I mean by that is like those products from those companies are difficult to repair and maintain.
Yes.
If, for example, with Apple, if you want to change your keyboard, or if you want to change one key on your keyboard, right? If it stops working, to change one key on one keyboard on the, let's say, the MacBook Pro, you have to remove the whole entire keyboard and the battery because the battery is connected to the keyboard in some way, some stupid retarded design way, which makes it
Mm-hmm.
difficult to repair, and so it's going to cost the end user more money. And they can't do it themselves. They can't because they have to go to the Apple
The
repair shop.
Yeah.
So that makes them dependent on Apple always. So that's my design principle that I think is BS.
Yes, I get it. But what about how do you know that, for example, Motorola is not planned obsolescence?
How do I know that they don't design planned obsolescence into their devices?
Yes.
Because I've had Motorola devices that didn't break after 2 years.
Yeah, I had Samsung devices that didn't break after 2 years. Actually, the last phone that I have, the Samsung Galaxy S7, I had it for 3 years and a half, and I changed it just because I want to change it.
Yeah.
Yes, I had some problem with the screen. I mean, I don't know. I know how it's called in English. The screen of the phone was screen burned.
Yeah, there's a term for that.
Screen burning.
Yeah. Oh, Apple is not the only culprit. Anyway, um,
And about like the second thing that you told me, yes, it's harder to repair them, but when you buy a product, the process of repairing it is not the main reason why you buy it. First of all, you buy it because you like it and because you want to get your job done. But first of all, because you like it, because sometimes you don't have a logical argument, like a logical reason to buy it, but your subconscious mind tries to find any logical reason um,
No, you're right. That's what I'm saying. Apple and
justify it.
Samsung, they both focus on providing the optimal end user
Yes.
experience, but they sacrifice repairability, maintenance, and they plan and they implement planned obsolescence because they know if a phone is a
Mm-hmm.
certain age, it stops working as well. So, for example, Apple with one of their updates, they slowed down, they put the
The
processing
older
power on
version.
their older phones. Yeah, so that
Yeah.
it doesn't use up as much battery. So they
Mm-hmm.
obviously made the software made the phone worse. The same thing happens when they update their laptops. Literally, if you watch YouTube videos of this guy named Louis Rossmann on YouTube, he explains how Apple implements planned obsolescence because there was an update, for example, for one of the Apple laptops, and this update had the ability to fry the motherboards fry a
Oh.
motherboard. So Apple, with a software update, literally broke their laptops. And to fix a fried motherboard is not easy.
Yes, and it costs a lot of money. So, what laptop would you buy, for example? So, for example, you have the money, you want the best product that you can have on the market. You have the money like to buy the most expensive MacBook Pro. What other product would you choose?
Depends what you need it for. What you're going to be using it for. For me, for example, what was important for me when I bought my last laptop was touchscreen, small size, long battery life, and reliability. So I got a Lenovo ThinkPad,
And how much did it cost you?
like 600 and something dollars, and I got the Lenovo L380 Yoga.
L3.
380 Yoga.
I also have a Lenovo, and I just break it.
Broke it?
I just broke it, like not just broke it. Like I broke it last week when I was in Bulgaria. I had it in the back of the car. My friends opened the back of the car, and my backpack fell off, and I broke the corner of my laptop, and I'm planning to change it. It's still working. There is no problem regarding this, but I want to change it because I have it since the second year of the faculty. That means that it's from 2016. It's a good laptop. It used like when I bought it, if I would have bought it brand new from the shop, it would have cost me around 4,600
Oh wow.
lays, around that
Oh,
the
lay, okay.
amount.
Okay, but
But
still.
I bought it from OLX
Yeah.
for a very good price, and it was perfect. Like it was like brand new. It didn't have any problem, and I negotiated with the guy around 3 weeks because I didn't have so much money then, and the price that he wanted for this laptop was 3,300 lei,
Yeah.
and I bought it for 2,400.
Wow, you really got him good.
Yeah, like I think he got annoyed by me because I messaged him so much at some point he was like, okay, I will give it to you. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. But anyway, the last thing I wanted to mention about them is the ecosystem. They try to get you sucked into their ecosystem, the Apple ecosystem and the Samsung ecosystem. Like, when you start using Apple, you start using their Apple services. And then you rely on the
mm-hmm.
Apple services. And that means the only people that the only companies that use the Apple ecosystem are Apple products. So you're limiting yourself in the future if you want to buy any products because if you want to remain in the Apple ecosystem, you can only buy Apple products.
Yes, I feel it. Like even if I just bought my phone, I already feel it. I
Yep,
can't use the usual cables, charging cables as I used to.
yep,
I don't have a jack anymore,
yep.
which is It's not the best case scenario. I didn't expect this, and I didn't think a lot about this
Can you
before
still
buying the
return it? You
phone.
should return it. Get rid of it.
Yeah,
there's
but
there's
there
so
are
there's
also
that, and
like,
Samsung does the same thing. Like I had a Samsung phone for like 1 month before I returned it, and there was all sorts of notifications and features that were unnecessary. Like sign up for Samsung account features. What? Why do I need a Samsung account? It's an Android phone. Sign up for
yes, you
Bixby.
don't need. Yeah.
Bixby sucks. Why do I need Bixby? Why is there a button that I can't disable? Um,
Mm-hmm.
and the thing that really bothered me, that really grinds my gears, is I wanted to change my wallpaper on the phone. Change the wallpaper. And in order to change the wallpaper, I had to update and sign in to a Samsung account. How does that make sense? Why do I need to sign in and update to change my wallpaper? That's all I
Yeah.
wanted to do. Like, so see what I'm saying? Like these kind of things, they design these kind of things so that you get sucked into their ecosystem and they take your data. People are all concerned about data, but they don't realize that they buy shit that makes them do that sort of stuff.
Yes, I get what you're saying.
Apple does the same thing.
Yes, so they somehow limit your freedom.
Yep, exactly. And you should not be limited in your freedom with your tools. Your tools should be easily replaced, easily maintained, and it should work without, you know, other side effects.
Yes, I get what you're saying.
Anyway, let's
I
go.
heard about this guy Charlie Munger. So
Yeah.
in the real world, you have to find something that you can understand as the best you have available. And once you found the best thing, then you measure everything against that because it's your opportunity cost. Oh, nice. That's a really nice quote.
Yep. So, opportunity cost. This kind of had to do with what you mentioned earlier, which is also relevant with this question.
So what's your opportunity cost in taking a lesson? Mm, First of all, like it can be the amount of money that I'm paying.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, resources. It can be time spent with my sister, for example. It
Mm-hmm.
can be time spent for lead generation. Like it doesn't just cost me resources; it costs me money that I could have made in the same amount of time. You know?
So, it could have cost you potential future income.
Yes,
Yeah.
because if you think about opportunity cost, it's not about the fact that I pay a certain amount for this lesson. It's also on that amount you have to add the money that I could have made in the same amount, of
Yeah,
time.
money you could have made in that amount of time, or money that you could have made, or money you could have brought in the future if you spent time doing something about it.
Yes, yes. Um, Another opportunity cost might be some chill, like
Me time.
relaxing.
Yeah.
Yes,
Mm-hmm. Sleeping more. Kind of
yes,
like what you said before.
yes.
But
Sleeping, reading a book is a very good
learning, yeah.
learning. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's go into that second question there.
Why is the concept of opportunity cost important when making decisions? It is very important because seeing the opportunity cost, we can realize what we are what we are getting and what we are losing while doing something. And
When we
when
do
when we
something,
when we do something, and a good way to see if it worth it, and
if it's worth it,
if yeah if it worth it to do something,
if
is
it's worth it,
to
if,
if it's worth it
yeah.
to do something, it's to see what your values are.
Yeah, so you have something to compare to, right?
Yes, so your like the top three values that you have are the most important things, and you want to see if the activity that you are doing has any return regards the values, the top three values that you have.
When you say the top three values, do you mean like inherent values or the top three activities that you could have been doing instead?
I think about inherited values.
Mm-hmm. Like inherent values.
Inherit values.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good. And do you do this like frequently when you make big decisions?
Yes and no. I think the process is kind of reversed because the values are determining um, what I'm choosing to do, but it's not a conscious process. It's a
Mm-hmm.
subconscious process. And sometimes I reverse engineer it to see how I made a decision and what were the main things that influenced the decision that I made.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would be a fool to say that I make every decision in a logical way. Even if I would like to be able to decide everything, taking into consideration every single detail, I know that it's not 100% possible,
Yeah.
and I am conscious about that. And at least I can reverse engineer it after I make a decision to see what influenced me to do that. For example, the fact that I bought this iPhone was not a logical decision. I like it, but I know that a friend asked me before buying it, why do you want to buy it? And there was because of the camera and because of that. And she told me, yes, but there are other phones that have a good camera. And I was, yes, I know, but it's just a subconscious decision that I want to, um, how do you say it? To justify
Yeah.
in a logical way.
What other phones were you thinking of buying? Like, what can you compare it to?
Nothing.
You
This
didn't have
time,
anything to
nothing.
compare to. You didn't do
Yes,
any research.
nothing. No, like this time, like because do you know what happened last time when I bought my phone? I wanted to buy an iPhone, and I made a lot of research, and I
I did a
ended
lot of
up
research.
I did a lot of research, and I ended up buying a Samsung Galaxy S7. And this time I like this phone. Let's do it. I also saw that the last version of Samsung they had that Samsung Galaxy S20, like the one that uh, was just launched, but I don't like it. I don't like the fact that the majority of phones these days are so big, and I don't like big phones. I
Mm-hmm.
want the phone to be like very ergonomic. Like
Yeah.
I want to be able to use it with one hand without having to sacrifice anything. I want to be able to take it to send a message with just one hand, and this one is a good fit because it's the size of my last phone. It's exactly the same size. It's 4.7 inch, and I don't I because I didn't make a real research.
Didn't do
I don't
research.
I didn't do any research. I don't know any phone that is this size and has similar capabilities.
So, what was most important for you in this phone? The size?
The most important thing was the camera and the performance, but especially the
When
camera
when you say
because
performance, what do you mean? Like, make sure it doesn't slow down?
yes,
Okay.
this is the main thing because if I and when I say performance, I'm also referring about the size because I observed that with the last phone that I had, even if I was able to have a SD card, the main problem was that the internal storage was low. It was
Mm,
just 32 gigabytes, and I also had like an SD card of a SD card, not an
yeah.
SD card of 64 gigabytes. So in total was around 96 or something. But the problem was that because of the internal storage was so low, I wasn't able to install more apps anymore, and it started to slow down. So for this phone, I wanted to be performant, like to go smoothly and to have a big storage, you know. So
So the specs were
this,
important.
yes, but besides that, I didn't have any problems with the last phone. But the camera is was one of the most important things.
Yeah, but here's the thing, like when a phone is 2 years old, it's going to slow down, no matter what phone it is. Like even though
And
Apple implements that with their software updates, your phone is just limited to its performance, and your phone was pretty old, so that you can't expect it to do that. Second, using an SD card slows down your phone because accessing the SD card is slower than accessing the internal storage.
yes, I know.
So you probably,
Uh,
if you can avoid using an SD card, you should. um,
yes,
and
but for that phone, I didn't have any other option.
hmm yeah, but there's many
Uh,
other options. And you said camera. How often do you take pictures with your phone camera?
with the last phone, I didn't take so many picture in the last period of time because I didn't have memory. But in the beginning, I used it a lot. I mean,
So
I
I didn't take many pictures because I didn't have enough memory.
yes, and with the last phone when I bought it in the beginning, I used to take a lot of pictures, and I had a few thousands on my phone. Like
A few
the
thousand.
yes, I like photography is one of my hobbies.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a passion for me, and usually I take a lot of pictures. And
Yeah, I also agree. I'm also a photographer and I also like a good camera. But what's the trade-off for a good camera?
the trade-off for a good camera,
I know that iPhones take really good pictures, but there's other phones that take really good pictures, and on top of that, the post-processing performance on many of the cameras are ridiculously good. They can, in post-processing, like automatic post-processing, they balance out the darks and the lights really well, and they can
hmm
even they can even put that bokeh effect, like
yeah,
without having a good lens.
yeah. I was thinking about, and we had this discussion, and I was thinking about the fact that one of the reason why I bought an iPhone is because I had one colleague in high school, and he bought an iPhone 5S in the moment in which the phone was launched, and he used that phone for 5 or 6 years. And after 5 or 6 years, uh, the phone was still good and it didn't have any problem. And I was impressed because you don't see so many phones that are able to maintain the level of performance through such a long period of time. This was one reason why I bought the iPhone, because I
Yeah,
always heard about the fact that Apple product Apple products are keeping their value throughout the time, and they are also keeping their performances.
they maintain performance.
Yes, better than other brands.
You're right. Like older iPhones are well known for doing that sort of thing. And iPhones, like Apple doesn't plan a lot of obsolescence with their phones, but with their other products like their laptops and other computers, they do. So I don't necessarily have a problem with the iPhones, but the reason they make the iPhones really good and and easy to use and all that stuff is because that's like the gateway to their ecosystem. After that,
Yes,
you're going to be tempted to buy an Apple laptop. Then after that, you're going to
I
be
am.
tempted to buy, see, I told you. And then you're going to be tempted to buy their other products like their earbuds or
Yes,
whatever.
yes.
Like
And you also have to buy a lot of accessories because
accessories.
uh, accessories, for example, now I need an USB to flash, or how does they call it?
Lightning port, I
Uh,
think.
yes, lightning port. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't need that. Like my laptop charges using USB-C. My phone charges with USB-C. So watch, I can charge my phone. This is the wire for charging my laptop. Look at this. I can charge my phone using the same exact wire. Can you do that with your iPhone?
No, no, and I'm not even able to connect the phone to my laptop anymore because the cable is completely different. I thought that I will have an USB on one end of the on the cable and the lightning port on the other now, the other one.
Yeah.
No, it's lightning port to a lightning port or something like that, and I have to buy an adapter. Yeah,
Yep. You don't need that.
yeah.
Okay. Two last questions.
Okay, so what are some examples of where exercising delayed gratification can help you? That's a good question. And for example, one good example when delayed gratification can help you is when you work out. Usually, for example, if you run, you will have the tendency to stop before you are done, and usually it's a problem related with your mindset. So delaying the gratification and delaying the break will help you improve your mindset and increase your resistance, stamina, and your discipline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Same thing with like food, right?
Yes, with food. And also delayed gratification can be a good thing when you buy a new product, because we just spoke about this. For example, if you wait for an extra few months, you can buy the same product uh, with a smaller amount of money, and you will have more opportunities, because maybe in that time span they will launch new products and you will have like new opportunities and better opportunities.
Yeah, and more options to choose from.
Yes.
Like when I bought my laptop, I waited, I was patient, and I was looking at buying it locally, buying it online, and then all of a sudden, Lenovo had a sale on their website, and it was like $300-400 off. I was like, wow, I'll buy it. It was almost
Really?
half
Like
off.
on their official website?
Yeah, on their official website, directly from them, it was on sale. This exact model, like this this setup, right? Because on Lenovo, if you buy it directly from them, you can set like how much RAM you want, how much hard drive space you want, how much blah 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 blah. And
Oh, really?
exact laptop, I don't know. I guess this specification was on sale for some ridiculously low price. I was like, all right, I'll buy this one.
Let's buy it. Yeah.
Brand new. Like, why not?
Yeah.
All right. Last question.
How can practicing restraint help you in the long term? It can help you improve your health,
Mm-hmm.
because we just talked about the fact that delaying your meals or eating sweets and things like that can improve your overall health. Um, Restraint, it can help you be more focused. For example, if you practice restraint by limiting the time that you spend on your phone and on other
Mm-hmm.
devices, can help you improve your productivity, and it can also help you make more money and have more free time. And like the direct maybe the direct result is not so appealing, but if you see all the indirect
Indirect.
um, indirect results, it's whoa.
Yeah. So do you think that taking English lessons is one of the things where you're practicing restraint or delayed gratification? How is this concept applicable in these English lessons?
So delayed gratification or practicing restraints. If I think now, like I can do any direct connection between these words and the English lesson. So delayed gratification and practicing restraints. Oh,
So
okay.
in
So delayed gratification. I have one example. I delayed my gratification regarding sleep.
mm-hmm.
For example, maybe I would have wanted to sleep more, but I didn't do it. I will do it later
Mm-hmm.
because I wanted to attend this English lesson. And about restraint, how can practicing restraint help you in the long term?
Yeah, but practicing delayed gratification in this way, how can it help you in the long in like instead of sleeping, now you practice your English. And how does that help
Yes,
you? Practicing your English hopefully will make you speak better English.
yes, make me speak better English. It's like it's an investment,
Mm-hmm.
and I I'm not able to see the end result right now because if we just speak about usual conversations, I don't have any problem. Like I can understand the other person, I can make me understood, but when it comes to
I
like
can make myself understood.
I can make myself understood, but when it comes to bigger things like speaking at a big event or something like that, it would like this English lesson helps me a lot. But right now I don't have any international or big events that where I have to speak in English, but I know and I want this to happen at some point, and I am preparing myself.
Mm-hmm. So you're preparing yourself for those in the future.
Yes, so it's an investment.
It's interesting what you say about the end result is not really that visible, and that's one of the problems I've been having with selling these services, because most people only look for the end result,
Yeah.
but it's not really that visible with these English lessons. It's very fuzzy. It's just like a, you know,
Yes, and the main thing is that because there is not a clear end result at some point, maybe it looks like you don't have any results. For
mm-hmm,
example, one thing that I liked about freedom business mentoring, and I'm speaking again about this, is that I know that I start today, and after 3 months, I want to see what is the level, like what is my income, you know.
mm-hmm,
So I had a clear key performance indicator. When it
yeah.
comes to English, like when it comes to these English lessons, there is no key performance indicator,
Oh, but there
and it
is. I've been recording
oh
these and uploading them online, so you can watch yourself, and you can say, "Oh my God, that's how I used to speak."
okay. Yeah, I last time when we spoke, I said that I'm going to watch myself, but there, I don't know if I saw it in the right way, but I had the impression that there are just two recordings on the YouTube channels, or do you upload every single lesson, or
Yeah, with you, I think I do. There was, I think, one lesson where the audio didn't record properly, so you don't hear anything, and it's kind of. I think I made it.
annoying?
Yeah, I think I just made it private again. But the link for finding these videos, I'll put it on the Google Doc.
Okay, thank you. Uh, keep.google.com. I didn't hear about this. It looks interesting.
It's just like a notepad on the cloud.
Yeah, I saw it.
I use it
I
all the
like it.
time. Mm-hmm.
I
Highly
like it.
recommend.
Yeah. So besides these videos, what do you think is the key performance indicator for you? I know that the lesson ended. Like if you don't have any
I
more
still
time.
have some time. I don't have a lesson right now, so we can still have a chat.
Okay, so what do you think is the main key performance indicator that
Well,
helps you measure the results of your clients?
the things that helps me measure results, feedback. So I go and I look at feedback, right? I look at the feedback and I type down what you wrote and that sort of stuff. And then I measure like how you felt this time compared to previously. Those
Okay.
videos. And if you look at the YouTube channel, I also started putting clips, short clips of highlights of the lessons. And you might find like a short clip on one of our lessons on how we had a good conversation or we talked about something interesting. And
Mm-hmm.
so let me ask you, when was the last time you talked about something interesting or something insightful in English with someone?
In English. in English. I think it happened around 1 week and a half ago, but it was because I was abroad.
Yeah, but like under normal circumstances, not because you're abroad. Do you get
Under
that
normal,
chance up often?
not really.
And if you do so, how well is the other person? How good can they communicate their ideas and maintain this conversation in the way that I can?
Yes, usually it happens that the person is not really good at communicating, and there is that language barrier. But at
Barrier,
some
yeah.
point, we can make ourselves understood, but it's not the same level of connection. And yeah, I have this problem. Like I had a discussion with one of my friends, and while talking with her, like we established that we are going to speak in English in order to improve our English skills. And we realized at some point that we wanted to speak about something really deep, and we were looking at each other's, and at some point we said we have to speak this in Romanian because we can't share so many like details in English. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not just about details. At some point I feel like English is limiting, is a more is more limited than Romanian from some points of view.
I see what you're
I
saying.
can.
In some points of view, I agree, but in most circumstances, um, I think English is more efficient in communicating
Yes,
ideas.
yes,
Romanian, in order to say the same message, requires a lot more words, and it's not always the clearest because it's a Latin based language, and I think that has a big influence on that.
yes. I think so. I think so.
Like, I
You're
also
right.
studied Spanish in high school, but I didn't really study Romanian in school or anything like that. But based on my experience, I have a lot to compare to. And that's just what I
Mm-hmm.
noticed. I mean, yeah, so KPIs.
KPIs.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
recordings are my main KPIs.
Yes. Maybe you can think about something that is easier to not to record, to count.
How do I? Yeah, I can measure, I can make you take tests in how you do in English.
Yeah, that would be a great thing, like to make a test in the beginning. If, for example, as I had this 10 lessons package, if I would have made a test in the beginning and another test after 10 weeks, I could have seen the improvement.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I
It,
don't believe tests are a right way of measuring how good you
I
are.
know,
They're a
I
way of
know.
teaching you.
Yes,
That's my opinion on how tests should be implemented. Because that's when you actually exercise what you learned. And what I'm doing here is essentially testing you on each and every activity.
yeah.
But I
The
think one
main.
thing I can do is make you do like an activity in English where you're more nervous than usual, like public speaking or something, right?
Oh yeah.
So if you happen to be in Cluj tonight at 6 p.m., I'm doing an English public speaking workshop.
Unfortunately, I'm not. I have to visit Cluj because I wasn't there like since January, I think.
Yeah, see, I
But
haven't been there since January.
I what? I never been there.
I haven't been there since January.
I haven't been there since January, and yeah, that would be a great example.
Yeah.
That would be a good KPI.
Well then, take the
Um,
next train or drive here 6 p.m. You should make it by then.
I have some calls today.
Cancel them all. I'm kidding.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. This is just one tip that I want to say, that I have a client from Pitest, and we are doing consultation call. And even if, from my point of view, we did a lot of things, because we don't have a clear KPI, and now I learned it. Uh, at some point, I observed that he's not really um, pleased, even if he had results and good results. And I realized that in the future I have to establish a KPI with every client in the beginning.
That's why I
Like
record my
what?
lessons.
Yeah, I also
Watch
record.
one of your old recordings with me, one of your first ones, especially the one where I gave you that free lesson, and you're gonna cringe. You're gonna be like, oh my god, right? That's the reason I do that.
I have to see that one.
But you have
I
to
really
see it.
have to
That's the
see it.
problem. You have to spend time doing it, and there's no other way for me to demonstrate that. If you think there's a better way of demonstrating improvement in your English other than taking tests, I mean, I guess I can make you take tests, but what kind of test do you think would be best, right? I don't know. For speaking, for
I
conversational
think
stuff.
it's related to the objective, the goal that every person has. For
Mhm.
example, I would say that, for example, I come to you and I say I feel like my grammar is not good enough. Like I'm able to have a conversation, but I feel like my grammar is not good enough. So if I see that, for example, I improve my grammar in these weeks, it would be a good KPI for me. I don't know. I can't tell you a proper way to measure this, like besides test. But yeah, this way we can track it, because one of the problems that I have with English, besides the fact that sometimes the English are not coming into my mind, and this is happening when I don't speak English for a longer period of time. One of the main problems that I have is with grammar, because I feel like I don't I'm not able to speak in the most correct way every single time.
Mhm.
And this type of lessons helps me, but I can improve the grammar just when I make a mistake and you correct me.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, and I don't see any, I don't know, I can't tell you that we have to do every single, like, these are the adjectives, these are the subject, like from the beginning. But maybe there is a way to improve this side in another way. Like, okay, this is the English lesson, but besides that, we have like communication, I don't know, grammar, and this, and you
Yeah,
know.
I've been implementing more grammar into my activities. This lesson that we just did, time value of money, didn't really have much. But for example,
Also, you have it.
there's one. This one is on minimalism. It has
Mm-hmm.
some grammar like error correction, but
Oh, yeah.
the most grammar you're going to get is from sentence structure.
Sentence structure.
Because the thing is, like, when you're making mistakes, that's where you need the most improvement, and that's where I'm going to show you what you need to fix. But if I just make you do exercises, assuming that's what you need to improve on, maybe you're already, I don't know, really good in that regard, so it's not going to
Yeah.
help you as much. In this way, when I see you make a mistake, I can identify that's exactly where you need to make an improvement, and this is how it should be fixed.
Yes, but sometimes I feel like I don't know the rule very well. Like, I learned grammar, the way I learned grammar is by practicing, but I don't learn the proper rules. It's like,
I've never learned
uh,
the proper rules.
yeah, I mean, I learned them at school, but not in the best way possible. And I feel like like a person from countryside that is able to speak in a correct way, but they don't know why they speak like that. They don't know the reason. And I don't say that knowing the reason is a good way to improve your communication, but at some point it's crucial to know the rules.
I agree. It is important to know the rules. It helps you, definitely. But
Yeah, for example,
am
I
I
made
here to
some
like
mistakes.
yeah, like but am I here to regurgitate another thing that like some resources I found
No,
online? Or am I
no,
here to help you implement and actually practice?
no. But for example, I would like to, like, I make a mistake, and maybe you can say, just take a look on Google about this and that, like articles, and
Okay, so give you resources.
yes, something like that. Because, for example, like lately, I was thinking about, besides these English lessons, to practice more on Duolingo. Even if on Duolingo, I finished all the lessons, and it's like, now I'm repeating it, but I feel like it keeps me on track, because for 1 week I'm not doing anything.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Like,
exactly.
we
You're right.
speak.
So the most important thing about maintaining and improving a language is to expose yourself to that language
Yes,
consistently. So not once a week, 5 hours once a week. I'm talking about 30 minutes a day is more effective than
Yes.
10 hours in one day or whatever. So yeah, if you want to see more results, you gotta implement more English on a consistent daily basis, like using Duolingo, writing in English, composing in English is most importantly. So that's what's going to help you the most. But see, the most value that I can add, so like my services and their value lies in the fact that I immediately identify errors and correct you. So I immediately identify errors and correct you. For example, when you're reading out loud and I hear you mispronounce a word, I I'm listening for you when you make these mistakes, and there's plenty of mistakes that people make when they're reading. And
Mm-hmm.
if you were to do this on your own, if you were to read out loud in your own, how do you know if you mispronounced a word? How
You
do you
don't
know
know.
how it should be pronounced correctly? Exactly. Same thing with sentence structure. When you make a sentence, I immediately correct you. But not just that, I also tell you how it should be said. How, like, for example, it might be grammatically correct to say it one way, but it might be
Mm-hmm.
awkward if you were to say it in public. It's just like weird. You sound weird if you say things in a
Mm-hmm.
certain way. So there's also those. And
I
last but not
understand.
least, like just getting exposure in this
Yeah,
way.
this is one of the most important things.
So you're you're not I'm not here to teach you theory. I'm here to teach you like practical.
Practical things.
Yeah, I'm here to teach like how to put it in application. And putting things into application is what's going to teach you the fastest. But if you want to
Yeah.
learn theory, anybody can do that.
Yeah, I think so. I wanted to ask you if you ever thought about giving your clients homeworks or things like that. But I don't mean like real homeworks with exercising and stupid things. I mean homeworks like this week you have to practice this and that, and you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, I do it all the time depending on what my clients need. Do you want me to give you some homework that I think would be good for
Yeah,
you?
it might be a good idea.
Alright, so here's your homework. Three sentence activity. What I want you to do is make three sentences. Let me give you an example. So I want you to make three sentences. Homework. The first one, here's an example of what the first sentence would look like. I walked my dog down the street. Alright? The second one would be like, I meandered. Um, I meandered along the boulevard with my canine companion. Right? So it maintains the same message, right? But I use more colorful words
Oh,
and stuff
yeah,
like that. The third one takes the second sentence and makes it even more colorful. Um, I happily skipped. Um, I happily skipped. Okay, let's see another word for along. So what you do here is you just go to thesaurus. Thesaurus. There we go. I happily skipped onward. I don't know if that's the best word.
mandared. I didn't hear about mandared.
Meandered.
So it means to walk.
Yeah, to walk in a certain way. How about to meander? Following a winding course. So you just kind of went like this down the street with your dog, right? So I happily skipped onward. Um, Besides my um, what's another word for dog? I don't know. Let's see.
That's a good question.
See, this is what I want you to do. Exactly what I'm doing now. Go to the thesaurus, put in the thing. Hound. All right. With my, I happily skipped onward. Besides my hound, as he sniffed at every nook and cranny on the or near the sidewalk. So these three sentences all pretty much say the same thing. I walked my dog down the street. But second one makes it a little more colorful. Third one makes it even more like instead of just walked, I happily skipped, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I
Yes.
want you to do. I want you to do this thing. So these three sentences 3 times. That means you should have 9 sentences total. And I want you to put it
Okay.
at the top of this Google Doc. Okay?
Okay.
This is going to exercise your vocabulary, and it will also expand it because you're gonna have to look at, you know, new words, happily, skipped,
Yes.
hound,
Yes.
whatever, by using the thesaurus.
Yes. I feel like when it comes to English, if you have like the basics, you feel like you know the language, but there are a lot of things that you don't know, and this is my case.
I know what you mean. Because I had the same problem with Romanian, but yeah. Cool. Alright, well, I do have other stuff I have to get to.
Okay.
So,
Thank you very much.
any last questions before I let you go?
No. No.
Alright then. I will see you next week then.
See you next week.
Alright, I hope you have
Have
a
a
great
nice
rest of the
week.
day. Bye.
Bye bye.